everybody, this is the Wikstrand. So, when a new movie comes out, I do my best to try to figure out as little as I humanly can. If a trailer comes up, I close my eyes and cover my ears. If reviews comes out, I do not read them. If, people are talking about this movie on message board and stuff like that, I do not read it. I'm trying to go in as blank as I possibly can to have a, fresh perspective of the whole thing. Now, when I was going to see this, I thought that two things was going to happen in the movie Ambulance, which is the movie that we're gonna take a look at today. I thought that because I had, been informed that this movie was going to carry a smaller budget than Michael Bay was usually working with, then I thought, well, I think that they're going to do something very slick and very compact. I don't know where I got this idea from, but I thought that this movie was going to be 90 minutes long. And I also thought that the entirety of the movie was going to take place inside of the ambulance, aka like Vehicle 19, but only good. So the day that I was going to see this movie, and when I bought my ticket to see it, that's when I found out that this movie was 2 hours and 16 minutes long. That's when I figured out also that, they're probably not going to spend 2 hours and 16 minutes inside a ambulance. They're never going to do that. So we're basically going to have, the usual things. My enthusiasm was a bit dampened by the whole thing, but I cannot blame anybody else but myself. But how good is this movie? What has the mad scientist of Hollywood cooked up for us this time? That's what we're gonna find out. This is Ambulance. Will used to be in the army. Will used to be in Afghanistan. Will used to have medals and living with honor and stuff. But now Will is down on his luck and his wife is also sick with a type of movie sickness that is really tricky to find a good cure for, and for some reason you're never insured against said disease. Now, in the beginning of the movie, Will is talking to what I must say must be the most awful person on the entire planet. And if this is not what insurance agents in the US sounds like, fuck you, Michael Bay, for making them sound less appealing than, guards in the concentration camps if they were also pedophiles. But if that is what insurance agents do sound and operate like in the US, fuck you, unknown person on the other side of that line for a insurance company of some description. You're the fucking worst. So Will is strapped for cash and his wife might be dying. He must find money fast. Who has money? Maybe Danny, his brother, played by Jake Gyllenhaal, can help him. By the way, how are these two brothers? Did they have different moms with different skin colors? Or was he adopted? Or are they metaphorical brothers like Hulk Hogan used to talk about in his promos? I don't know. Either I missed it, or they didn't address it, or they didn't address it good enough. But the thing is that Danny doesn't have any money at the moment. Danny is basically a bank robber, and he has, put all his money into a mega heist that he's going to do. And the heist, if successful, is going to give them $32 million. And he offers Will, a spot in the team. You can, participate in this so you can get that money, so you can cure your wife and stuff like that. By the way, their dad was apparently this legendary criminal in LA called TL, and they're talking about him like he was this, super outlaw of some description. And after having debated with himself whether or not he should do this, and I don't want to, go back to being a criminal, and I don't want to, rob this bank and stuff like that, but a man's got to do what a man's got to do. He, of course, accepts the spot at the team, and they go for the First National Bank. And then the heist doesn't go according to plan, shock of all shocks. Now let's talk about the ambulance that is going to play a big part in this movie. We have a ambulance nurse, Cam, played by Isa Gonzalez, which I swear looks like a bulkier and hotter version of Megan Fox, and a lovesick cop. Both of these people will be, integrated in this heist because, as I said, the heist doesn't go according to plan, and soon we have lovesick cop that is, wounded in the inside of the ambulance together with Cam and the two brothers who are fleeing with the loot and half of LAPD on their trails. So what's going to happen? Is, you know, lovesick cop going to die, or are they going to get away scot-free? Are they going to be able to cure Will's wife, or will she die? Will they both go out guns blazing? Or will somebody sacrifice himself for the greater good? Or will they go scot-free? We shall see. Now, one thing needs to be said before we get any further. Jesus Christ, this movie was a fun thrill ride for sure. This movie is essentially just one long chase, like the movie The Chase, you know, only kind of good. And they're stuffed so much in this one. Fantastic action sequences, great chase, and some pretty awesome explosions. Unusual to see in a Michael Bay movie to have a character that was as nuanced as they were in this movie, because, you know, Danny is essentially our villain, but since he is the brother of our hero, Will, we doesn't really, you know, disapprove that much of his immoral actions. We kind of hope that, you know, he will redeem himself, that he will get away from this, and that he, you know, will become a better person or anything like that. I also like Camelot. She had, you know, a lot of personality, and as I said, a better actress than Megan Fox, but not that much better. So we do have a very, very fast-paced, extremely entertaining, very slick-looking, and very, very brutal and violent action movie with lots of action and lots of stuff happening. So, do I think this movie is a really, really good Michael Bay movie? I kind of do, because while I like the idea of the movie, I think that 2 hours and 16 minutes still was a little bit too much. And they also introduce a lot of side plots and things to do and adversities to overcome, and some Michael Bay-based bullshit that we, you know, can't really get away from. That kind of took away a little bit from the heart-stopping, figuratively and literally suspense that did happen in this movie. Also add to that a slightly cliched and kind of underwhelming ending, and it was not quite as good as I hoped this movie would have been, but I do think that this movie is much better than its reputation would suggest. I really like Danny as a character. He was probably the most interesting in the entire movie, and also Jake Gyllenhaal is just growing more and more on me, and at this stage he's probably one of the most dependable hands in Hollywood. Jesus Christ, he has done some pretty damn awesome movies over the years. So do I recommend this movie? Yes, I do. I think this is a really, really good movie. Now, compared to other movies Michael Bay has made, it is, you know, better than his Transformers movies. It is better than Pain and Gain, Bad Boys, Armageddon, and Pearl Harbor. At least the movies I can come up with, you know, on the fly. So basically it positions itself in sort of the middle of the Bay filmography. In my opinion, he gets kind of a bum rap and everybody just hates him all the time and think that he is, you know, this untalented hack. I think that Michael Bay makes some of the most entertaining and awesome movies that has ever been made. They are dumb, they are stupid, but they look so good and they feel so good. And when he's good and when he's epic, they feel great and they feel big and they feel heavy. Now, this movie could not quite get up to that level because they never really, you know, evolved into that, you know, action overload or suspense supernova that sometimes, you know, comes up in different movies, not this one. But I still thought that this was a very entertaining movie that I still think could have been cut down to 110 minutes, even 105, just to make it a little bit more compact and a little bit more intense, in my opinion. You know, stuff happens all the time, but it feels like they're, you know, adding and padding out the runtime so they can get that sweet 136 minutes, which they, you know, wanted for some reason. By the way, since this is based on an old Danish action movie, which I never even heard of before this movie was announced, does this technically make this the first remake that Michael Bay has ever done? Because The Island was not a remake of Logan's Run. It just borrowed a lot of things from Logan's Run. So I think that this might be the first remake that Michael Bay has ever done. So that was kind of fun. I also appreciated the more grounded, more reality-based, take that with a pinch of salt, and more gritty style that Michael Bay brought to this movie. It still had, you know, his signature things of being very slick and almost looking like, you know, a commercial and stuff like that. And there was a beating action heart beneath this surface, which I really appreciated, and I thought this was a really good action movie. It could have been even better. This is probably the uncoolest thing that I have ever said on this channel, but I actually think that Michael Bay is one of my favorite directors of all time. I know that that is the uncoolest thing to say, but that is actually what I think, and that is a hill I'm willing to die on. Intense with decent characters and a fast pace. Sometimes the movie gets a little bit unfocused, but we're gonna have to take the bad with the good. I give Ambulance 77 points. It is a very good action movie, and with some trimming, with some more focus, and with some better casting, this movie probably could have been even better, but for now, it is still a very good Michael Bay movie. So I'll see you next time for so-and-so reviewing, well, such and such. Thank you for watching. Thank you very much.